allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Here.
Mr. Franco.
I'm here.
Mr. Cabrera.
I am here. Compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975. The notice requirements have been satisfied as to the time, place, and date of holding said meeting by posting notice on the bulletin board here in Borough Hall and by mailing and emailing same to the Herald of Cape May County, the Gazette Leader, and the Press of Atlantic City on December 7th, 2022. Quick announcements from our tax collector. All residential sewer ratepayers can obtain information on the low-income household water assistance program from the NJDCA website. I'm not even going to go into reading off the website. Okay, in the event of an emergency, your emergency exit is the door that you came in your back right, our front left, or you may also exit by the American flag, your front left, our front right. Couple quick reminders. This meeting is being shown live here today on the Facebook channel for the borough and also the YouTube channel. If you have questions and you're watching this meeting, you can use the dial-in conference line, which sits right up here on the dais, by dialing the phone number 888-363-4734. And when prompted, you're going to enter the access code 9699020, followed by the pound or the hashtag. If you watch the recorded version of this meeting and you have questions, you're more than welcome to email our clerk@wildwoodcrest.org, or you may phone her at 609-729-8040. Madam Clerk, I believe we have one ordinance for introduction today.
Yes, sir. It's ordinance 1406, and it reads as follows. An ordinance of the Borough of Wildwood Crest amending Chapter 85, Article 11, Hotel, Motel, and Multifamily Zone, Section 85-57, Permitted Uses of the Borough of Wildwood Crest Land Use Ordinance.
Motions that ordinance number 1406 be passed on first reading, advertised according to law, be brought up for second and final reading and public hearing on August 22nd, 2023 at 5 p.m.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that ordinance number 1406 be passed on first reading, advertised according to law, be brought up for second and final reading and public hearing on August 22nd, 2023, at 5 o'clock p.m.
Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next, we have the resolutions. The first is authorizing expenditure to purchase one 2022 Road Rescue Emergency Vehicle F550 4x4 Ultramedic Pass-Through Ambulance from Firefighter 1 in accordance with HGAC Cooperative Purchasing.
I'll motion that.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
The next two are Chapter 159 resolutions. The first is authorizing amendment to the 2023 municipal budget to account for additional funding from the State of New Jersey Department of Community Affairs for the Local Recreation Improvement Grant. And the second is for the New Jersey Small Cities Community Development Block Grant 2023, ADA compliance for bathrooms.
I'll motion that now.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolutions be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing contracts with certain approved state and national contract vendors for calendar year 2023.
Motion.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing application submission for Walmart Grant 2023.
Motion that.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing advertisement of a notice to bidders for Seaview Avenue intersection improvements.
I'll motion that.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing a revocable licensing agreement between the Borough of Wildwood Crest and Medical Essential Diagnostics, LLC.
Motion.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing a fireworks display at Seafair's Celebration on Saturday, September 23rd, 2023.
Motion?
Second?
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Next is authorizing no corrective action plan needed for the 2022 audit.
Motion that?
Second?
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Lastly is authorizing a service agreement with Vector Security for system and alarm security and authorizing the mayor to sign the agreement.
Motion?
I will second.
It has been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Motion that all bills properly authorized as submitted be paid.
Second that?
It has been moved and seconded that all bills properly authorized as submitted be paid. Roll call. Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera.
Yes.
Thanks, Trish.
You're welcome.
Okay, we have nothing listed under correspondence. That brings us to our first round of public comments before we move into the discussion items. Just a couple rules before we do that. If anybody here in the audience has a public comment, you're gonna come up to the podium. All we need is your name. Do not need your address. And then you're gonna feel free to ask your comment, or make your comment or ask your question. And then we're gonna move after that, we're gonna move on to the conference line. So we'll start with anybody here in the room that has any public comments.
Hi, my name is Mike Marino, and the reason I'm here today is to discuss the safety issue I reported about a year ago. And I noticed it was no longer in our agenda about items to speak about. I don't know if it got dropped.
It's renamed traffic calming.
What is it?
It's renamed traffic calming.
Traffic calming. Okay. So with that, then, I guess I'd like an update. And I was wondering, too, is it possible if something action is taken to be put on here, what the action is then? Like, for instance, Crescent Park. I know that, Joe, you're working with Wildwood about that intersection.
Yes.
And I haven't heard anything in a while. So
I haven't heard anything either. That's the problem.
Okay. So there's no action plan they're going to follow up on it or anything?
That's
like
Wildwood's.
That's
The
Wildwood's.
problem is I have to follow Wildwood, or we have to. That's their jurisdiction.
Okay. And then as far as the traffic study, we talked about a traffic study. We do know that traffic's increased a lot around here since COVID, a lot of building going on, so I got to believe that we have some issues out there that we're not addressing.
There is a lot of traffic.
Okay.
I agree.
So are you actively doing a traffic study, or?
Have Mr. de Blasio respond to that?
So, my understanding is that the traffic study, the proposal, the dollars associated with that were not in the budget. However, I have reported to the commissioner and the chief some ideas on how to do traffic calming short of a formal voluminous study. So I've reported to them after analyzing and looking at things that I saw out there just verbally.
So you did report?
Yes.
Are we allowed to hear about it, or?
Really, the hard part about it is that we're waiting to see how this summer goes,
Okay.
to see what's happening, to actively look at specific areas. Captain, you want to comment about that at all, or we still, the chief's out, so I'd
Okay.
really rather him, but if the captain has something to say, that would be good.
I'll defer that to the chief and the discussions that he's had with the engineer, and let him.
Yeah, I did speak directly to the chief. I gave him my comments.
Can I just
Oh,
comment
No.
on that?
Hang on a second.
Was this traffic related?
Hang on a second.
After Mr. Marino's finished.
Okay.
Okay, so plan going forward is you're not able to do anything about Crescent Park
At
because
this
it's,
time, I know that I spoke to the new chief and he's working on it. That's a
and,
big issue for me too.
okay, and the traffic study,
I think the problem with saying it's a study
okay?
is that we specifically have to look at a certain area, and I'd rather the chief speak to that instead of myself, because he's the expert in it. So I don't want to put the words out there.
Right.
And then have to back up on things. So I'd really rather wait to the next meeting so he can answer that professionally.
Okay.
All right.
So is there a takeaway? Is there something we can put down here? Because I'm a year later. I know folks on our street are really concerned. We're at the height of the season, and we're not really seeing anything get done here, except for,
Understand.
to be fair, the sign got put back and the lanes were painted, but it's not really working that well.
Commissioner, if I could, I mean, I do think that the police department is aware of the concerns that the citizens have raised in that particular area. The officers are doing pretty standard and routine radar enforcement in that area to monitor traffic and monitor speeds in that area. We do have the signboard that's displayed. There is also the flashing speed limit sign that's along that area too. So there are steps and things that have been taken in that area to address some of those concerns. So it's, I understand that you're looking for some additional things, and that is conversations that the chief has had with the borough engineer and trying to figure out where we want to go with that. But there are some steps that have been taken, since this issue has been raised to try and address some of those concerns as well.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Oh,
No, just,
hold on. Go ahead, Mike, finish your last
Okay,
comment, then we'll go ahead. I think
just-
Mrs. Cassiello had.
we have people waiting and cars going by, and it's my fear that something's going to happen here. And we have a lot of kids on the street, and it's a raceway on Park. We know it is. It's almost a mile without a light, except for the blinking yellow. You go over to Jersey, you have 10 lights, same distance. So I think we need to do something, and we can't go another year with I'll say not doing anything. 'Cause-
We hear you, Mike.
Okay, that's what you told me last year. Okay, all right. Can we put down on here what the steps are? Is that fair? What next steps are for this item?
So I think probably the best thing to do is we'll keep listed under here. Unfortunately, if anybody wants to hear a status report on that, because it's a moving targets wherever it's at. So I think then that has to be related to Trish, and then it goes on the agenda. The best thing to do, I could suggest, Michael, is to just come to the meeting and ask for the update, or just let the commissioner in charge of the old business item respond to the matter as to what the progress is personally.
Okay,
All right.
Thank you.
I'll have some comments on this after after everyone's done talking about this. Go ahead, Rose.
Hi, Roseanne Cassiello. I was just regarding traffic. Atlantic Avenue, unbelievable. Speed, trucks. Do we have a truck route?
Suppose so.
And what is it?
Chief, Captain?
It's Park Boulevard, I'm sorry, New Jersey Avenue down to Rambler Road down to Pacific Avenue,
Okay,
and then south out of town.
okay.
They are allowed to deliver, so
I
they give you all
understand
that to make the
deliveries.
deliveries, correct?
I understand
They're
that,
supposed to
but
make the most speediest
we
route
have
back.
the 18-wheelers, they're going down Atlantic Avenue, 40 miles an hour, right to Sea Point.
And again, I
They're
mean,
going right
it's-
to the Grand. I watched a cop car follow one yesterday, and I'm like, something has to be done.
I'll take note of it, I'll make sure and pass it on. It is something, I mean, again, that's something else that we do monitor in town. You know, It's,
You had the cop car follow him on Seaview. Here comes the 18-wheeler, PJP. There's the
Well,
cop.
I understand that, and that's, obviously, I would expect that. I don't know what that officer was doing at that moment, if he was en route to something else.
But we have
there
to-
are certain things
We
that
have
we
to
do.
try and control some of it.
I understand that, we do. I mean, that's another thing that we routinely monitor, if the officers are going out there, and I have, case entries and stuff where they are monitoring the truck route, making sure that people are abiding by the truck route. So, I mean, these are concerns that obviously we're aware of, and we also understand that there's something that we want to stay on top of, throughout the summer. It is a busy summer with a lot of an influx of people and traffic and things of that nature, and the officers can
But
only
if we
be so
don't
many
even
places
try to
at
get
once.
one, we're not gonna get any.
No, there
And the
are few
thing
car
is,
stops. I have plenty of car stops for truck route violations.
but
I can assure you that.
how many tickets have been written? Just like say in the last week. Any?
That I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
So that's,
Looking
and the
through it.
speed on Atlantic Avenue, unbelievable. I don't know as far as if it's a mile, but from Farragut all the way down, you go watch the change of shifts from Icona, and you'll see the people going 40, 50 miles an hour right down Atlantic Avenue. I've never seen anybody with radar down there. I've never seen the electric sign saying, slow down 25 miles an hour. I mean, we're not doing anything.
I don't know that we're not doing anything. I mean, again, I'm sure I could pull up a ton of traffic stops that are along Atlantic Avenue for various violations. And just, again, it is a tourist season in the middle of, you know, the heights.
This is
We
all
have a
year
lot of-
long, though. This is all
a lot
year
of
long.
different-
Trucks are
So-
all year long, and
So what-
speeds all year long.
So the
Just-
point, Commissioner and Captain, you guys can have a conversation and see what additional things the PD
Well,
can do.
there are lights along that route too, so,
There's one in Farragut, that's it.
on Atlantic Avenue?
Yes. And one at Rambler and one at Farragut, that's it.
Heather and Chris.
Yeah, but I'm talking from the truck route down. That's it. There's not many. The other thing is, for safety-wise, bike route, where's the bike route? Because electric motor scooters can't be on the bike path, so what's the bike route from Rambler to Cressy? And do we have any of it, any marked? Any of it?
From Rambler to Cressy. You,
Seaview, is
so,
that right?
so it comes down, so you have the bike path, then comes down the Rambler
Yeah.
Road, and then it goes down to Seaview Avenue, but it also connects you to Pacific to take you on the new roadway that the county just built. So that's the official bike route. However,
Do
there
we
is
have
a,
anything marked for bike, that it's a bike route there, or no?
there are bike lanes there.
On
Yes.
Pacific to Cressy?
No, Pacific,
Right.
from Rambler to Pacific.
Right, I'm
There is-
saying from Pacific to Cressy.
No,
Okay, are we getting any?
that is.
Is that the recommended route?
There is a master plan draft that's in front of the planning board right now to discuss all of that, which also ties in with the county bicycle path plan, so.
Then where's that gonna be?
I don't know if you have it here. Is it here? Yeah, sure.
And then one of the last things is the dumpsters.
That's under new business for discussion.
It's on
All
our,
right, because any violations been written up for dumpsters in the past year? At any businesses?
The answer is probably not. However, let us address that under new business.
All right,
You'll see that.
there were few concerns.
All right, we'll have Connie grab the bike master plan.
Yeah, good morning. My name is Mike Creedon. To just follow up on Mike's comments, the area of Park Avenue, we all know is the highest volume street in the island. I guess in some way that's a good thing because people love to come to our borough. But from my personal experience at Park and Buttercup, the most dangerous situation is when you're trying to cross the street and on the left-hand side, you have vehicles parked legally. Then you have a vehicle to make a left-hand turn on Buttercup. People are standing to cross, and the vehicle making the left-hand turn is stopped, waiting for oncoming traffic to allow them to turn, plus they see the pedestrians. The problem is the folks behind them don't see the pedestrians, parked cars block their view, they see the car in front of them stopped. I have two grandkids, 11 and 13. They bike down there all the time. They get off their bikes and walk, and it's shameful how people just go by that. My personal, when they go to swing around there, they can't see it. It's not their fault. There's just no visibility. I mean, I don't have the answer, but I appreciate the piano markings, the sign that's been put in. I do had seen more of a police presence since, and the electric speed warning sign. Appreciate it, thank you. But that's, I just wanted to draw attention to that specific situation that is highly dangerous for people across that street. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kate Sharp speaking on behalf of my dad, Jim O'Donnell. We are the crest side of Cressy and Hudson. Same thing, same situation. We are one side's Wildwood, we are the crest. The stop sign there is constantly blown. There was a traffic stop there, a police chase 2 weeks ago. There were still people driving the wrong way down the one way where the traffic stopped. So we're here to ask for the lit stop sign at that intersection. I have spoken also with the commissioners in Wildwood about Cressy and Park because we're in between both of those streets, but our house is the dead end of Cressy and Hudson. So we're here to propose for one of the electric stop signs just to bring attention because people park in front of the stop sign coming from the bay towards the beach at that Cressy and Hudson intersection. So some people don't even notice it and are still making the left-hand turn from the right lane even though it's one way. And I know my parents have been residents for almost 30 years here and have been complaining for 30 years about it, so.
So you're talking about one of the permanent, the flashing ones?
The one of the
stop
flashing ones, I mean,
Street.
The solar one?
yes.
Yeah, so the chief and I were talking before, we have in the works, we're looking at 3 signs. I personally don't like the one that keeps flashing. I like the one that has the sensor on it, when you pull up, it starts flashing. But that's to be debated, doesn't really one way or the other, I hear what you're saying.
Right.
So we're looking at some areas there with those signs.
And I just know that because we're at that street of Cressy and Hudson, Cressy and Park, it's 2 boroughs right there that match up.
Exactly.
That it's your job, my job, their job, whatever.
Now, I think we're having a little bit better conversation with the chief there, and he understands the situation. So I think you're gonna see some things happen.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Come on.
Hi, I'm Tracy Blanda. Mine is not traffic related. I first want to thank Julia Tate from Public Works. She's been wonderful. I reached out to her about a memorial bench on Louisville and the beach. I was informed there's a wait list, which I understand. What I would like to ask is if you would consider putting memorials on lifeguard stands next summer so that more people have an opportunity for these memorial plaques without having to wait 2 to 5 years is what I was told the wait list is. I know North Wildwood has a couple. I could help in any way possible. We were looking at the lifeguard stands while down at the beach. There seems to be space on the back, a couple different options that you could look into. I know it's August, so I was thinking this would be a great time. You have a year to think about it and hope that by next summer, it could be a possibility.
That's a nice idea. And the only problem is, I have a bench for my wife, and I know exactly where that bench is every time. So if I feel the need, I can go there, okay? With the lifeguard stands, they are in constantly in flux. We move them around. Unfortunately, sometimes people break the backs of those too. I'm not sure that would be a great idea. I was thinking, if it's possible, when we start realigning the Centennial Park, we might have some opportunities for new benches there where the concert's at. So we'll think about it, is what I can say. I'm just concerned about like the permanency of it, where.
Right, we were thinking, since they are numbered, we know like we're lifeguard stand 17 on
I agree.
Louisville Avenue. That way we would always know it's lifeguard stand 17, and something that maybe was only there for the summer could be removed, especially when they start spreading them out. Also, another thought, and I know there's a lot of mixed views on this, but our issue is we want it on a specific beach, so that's why the wait is probably going to be long. But perhaps maybe there be more than one plaque per bench, because I feel like there are so many benches around town, and if there is such a demand for it, it would be, more income. I understand that maybe you don't want to share your bench with someone though, so just a thought, if you would consider it, and I'd appreciate it.
Okay, and there are some additional locations that have opened up, so maybe I see Steve Shear in the back. Maybe you put one there temporarily, then when a space, if it does open up on your street, we can move the bench over to the other area. If that's just a thought, if you wanted to get one sooner. Because there's some additional locations that we just opened up.
Oh, and how come some streets have 4 benches, but Louisville can only have 3?
It depends on the street. Like some of the streets are actually larger than smaller than the others. The decks are generally the same, but the area when the new bump outs got constructed, there was no platform there at all. So it's possible. I don't know which one. I don't know them off the top of my head. But if they can be rearranged, I'll defer to Public Works to determine that. But
Yeah, I mean, I don't need anything rearranged. and Steve, thank you. You were very helpful too when I emailed him.
Yep.
He directed me to Julia. Everyone's been really great. I just, you know.
we'll see what we can do to accommodate.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
You got it.
Thanks, Chief.
Anybody else? Public comments? Anybody on the conference line have any public comments? Okay, so we'll have traffic calming is listed under old business. So we're gonna jump into new business, and that is trash enclosures. So to Mrs. Cassiello's point about the dumpsters and so forth, so the borough recognizes there are dumpsters and dumpster areas that are primarily at some hotel motels and some condominium properties along the ocean front, and even a block away from the ocean front, that have their dumpsters exposed in plain sight. And the concern and the comments that we're receiving are that they're unsightly, obviously, and they stink, and you know, they get left out in the middle of the street and all of that. So the borough code calls specifically for these areas to be enclosed with a fence and then put back immediately. However, if you take a look at some of our properties, they're so small, it's almost impossible to build a fence area without potentially losing a parking space or an area that the hotel or motel may need. So we listed it for a discussion because we've been trying to find a resolution to make, you know, it can't be completely 100% enforced, and also we recognize that there should be some level of enforcement. So somewhere in the middle there is what we're trying to find. So I know our solicitor is working on a draft ordinance that will address to the best of our ability. If the property physically can't do it, then perhaps there is a permit that allows them to not be able to comply with that ordinance. If I'm speaking about the draft ordinance correctly. So it's still some work in progress. I know it needs to be fine-tuned a little bit. We're certainly not looking to do anything before in the middle of this summer, in fairness to all those property owners. It would be something that notice would go out perhaps after the summer and allow everybody at least 6 months to apply for the permit if they need it, or put the fence around the dumpster. All right, so we're doing the best that we can. I think everyone just has to keep on the mindset that we need our hotels and motels and these properties to be successful. Public Works, when I was elected way back when, one of the first things we did was allow 4 pickups for trash and 2 pickups for recycling, so that when everybody walks to the beach, you don't have to see the overflowing dumpsters and so forth, because the properties are generally closed, you know, the other 6 months out of the year. So, or the other 7 months out of the year. So, everyone keep an open mind. Keep in mind we're a tourism community, but we also recognize that we have a code that needs to be, that needs to be cleaned up. So, look for that to come. Yes, ma'am.
Just for that comment about not being able to take a parking spot away, we told you could take a parking spot away from the commander. They have 40 rooms, 43 spots. There's one that could be taken away. But there's nobody and then it's too tight. For 20 years it was up the alley, and now, oh, it's too tight. Then we had the Villanova, it's overflowed. For a month and a half we had to look at mattresses, lamps, toilets, couches. I mean,
That
at
wasn't-
one point, and then these are left out all year long. This
Yeah,
isn't
so
just,
that's-
it's just for 3 months. It's
So
all year long.
Ro, the Villanova the trash was left out for that long, or?
Yes.
Really?
Are we not picking up mattresses? Is that what it is anymore? I don't know. Admiral's the same thing. You guys run all winter long. I don't know what the Admiral was doing. We paid for their construction trash.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay. All right. Well, so we hear that. Just give us some time. Just give us an opportunity to get our ordinance in play.
and it
But-
goes like, I ride the bike, Topaz is out. I go to work, there's 2 in front of the entrance of a building. Like, they're all over. It's not just the motels.
Understood. Okay.
We have to do something. Look,
so-
it's like we should have the simple Wildwood Crest beef dumpster.
Solicitor, any other comment? Did I summarize what we're potentially looking at?
No, Mayor, you articulated it correctly. It's a balance between pre-existing old structures, zoning ordinances, and the original dumpster ordinance, which attempts to regulate that. And all those things come together and have to be balanced. And we do have a draft. I'll recirculate that again, and it does need to be it's finalized and then introduced at some point, I guess, with notice, because it is going to take a long time to comply.
Right.
It's a permitting process. The zoning officer is going to be involved, and there's a lot of properties out there, I understand. So it's something that'll take maybe at least one or more seasons, and with some proper time for the original, the first to get started. So.
Understood. Okay. And on that note, so I know there's a similar kind of parallel with that. So there's some folks that asking Public Works to come actually onto their property and into the alleyway, because that's the request. If they can't move their trash cans out and so forth, then they're keeping the cans there, and they're putting demands on Public Works to go onto their property and pull them out from the alleyway and so forth, and that's not what we want either. So there's a balance there. We have to be very careful of what, the precedents that we're going to set when we think this thing through. Okay, that wraps up. Any other comments on trash enclosures? Anybody?
No, not from me.
Okay. All right, under old business, Borough Hall office hours, I haven't heard anything more on that, so that's tabled. Crest Pier capital planning for generators. I asked Mr. de Blasio to start working on, my understanding is there are some brick grants from FEMA that are available that we could consider applying for to help us pay to perhaps make the Crest Pier a cooling center. So the traffic study, AKA renamed as traffic calming. So just to go back and rehash, so this has been ongoing for a while, and we've reported on this and talked about it. My understanding is that Mr. de Blasio is going to put together a proposal to discuss the Park Boulevard area, Atlantic Avenue, and Ocean Avenue, because New Jersey Avenue and Pacific has already been done by the county. How can we get folks to slow down in these areas? And that was not, we're not talking about having, the strips going across the street where it monitors the traffic, just what can be done. So that's why we renamed it the traffic calming. So that proposal hopefully is forthcoming very soon. We're not saying we're spending the money for it. I think what we agreed to in previous meetings was, hey, let's get the proposal to understand what the cost is for engineering to get involved in that. That was my understanding that we discussed. Yes. Am I correct on that?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so that said, can we fast track that and at least get that, so if it's a budgetary item for Francine for next year, or if it's something that we can do and get started now while perhaps there's traffic in town so we can eyeball this stuff, let's get it moving. This has been going on too long. I agree. Third thing is code enforcement. Any action on that?
A little more specific on that?
So we have it, I think what we were talking about was having some additional code enforcement help on the weekends.
Yeah, we had one applicant come in. There was some talk between our two other code enforcements that they may want to change their hours to help, specifically weekends. You were talking about, Joe?
I think so, yes. It was,
So.
yeah, we needed someone for at least Saturday, I would think.
Okay. So we'll interview this one person and move forward.
All right, Back Beach excavation. That's on hold pending the new dune program with the state and the Army Corps. Dredging.
Nothing new on that, Mayor. Connie caught us up last meeting, so we're still in the waiting stage for our phase, which is phase 2. So
Phase 1's out to bid right now.
phase 1's out to bid for the other municipalities, but ours is probably within the year, we hope.
Yep, still in the acquisition phase for some real estate before they can move forward with phase 2.
Okay. New Jersey Avenue infrastructure pre-county. I believe, Mark, your offices will start working on the design specs on that.
Beyond the infrastructure, that's
The-
actually pretty much done. It was been sitting on the shelf waiting for funding.
Okay.
so we're in a good spot there.
Public Works roof is in design. On that note, so,
What?
I'm sorry, go
No,
ahead.
I didn't know the date on that, Mayor. The public roof, not the pool, I'm sorry. You got confused with the pool roof.
So the Public Works roof is in the final design for specifications. However, just to alert the governing body, I met with Mark's office and another engineer. So the Crest Pier roof has a couple areas that needed some attention. So we had asked, or we're considering perhaps getting a spec to fix, to repair the flat roofs of the Crest Pier, and perhaps doing that at the same time with the Public Works roof. So Francine, there might be some additional funding requests that may come in as a result. I just want to let the governing body know that was out there. Okay, Bayside Outfalls, and so that work is also in the design stage and perhaps getting some permitting. And on that note, I believe, Mr. President, correct me if I'm wrong, that kind of ties in with the traffic calming plan. There is potentially some grant monies available, or perhaps I guess I should say, so USDA funding available to reconstruct perhaps Park Boulevard. So the thought process being that if we're in the neighborhood fixing bulkheads and the tide flex, the outfall lines, Park Boulevard is in bad shape, and that might be the best opportunity to shorten the distance in the intersections and create the bump out so that the walk isn't as far as you go out.
So those were the recommendations and conversations we had with the chief.
Okay, so I just wanted the public to know that there is some discussions on perhaps reconstructing with some grant funds and some matching funds with the USDA to shorten that distance.
Road diet.
A road diet, I'll call it, yeah, correct. I didn't want to road shame anyone by calling it a road diet. All right, Arts Pavilion, Mark's working on the specifications for that. We're waiting for the final word from the county.
The formal letter.
The formal letter of
granting us
acceptance,
funding,
but
recommending
all
funding to-
indications indicate that we're gonna fare very well.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Washington Avenue, Seaview, Beach Falls, and capacity, there is also, Mark, what is that, is there some
So-
opportunity?
Yeah, so that report was completed and delivered to the borough and your grant coordinator. Your grant coordinator, Mr. Vitella, is now taking that report and lobbying FEMA to fund it.
Gotcha. All right. Update landscaping and lighting in the business district. So some landscaping has been done. The planners I guess they're on back order from Wausau Tile, or been delayed getting here, so we're gonna hopefully get them in before the summer. We'll do the best we can. And the last thing is the lightning detection system. Anything on that?
Yeah, we're just looking at a different option to utilize that system.
Okay. All right, that wraps up all the discussion items. We're going to go to our last round of public comments. We'll start again with anybody here in the room. Just come on up to the podium. We just need your name. Sure.
First, just, we kind of ended that discussion a little abruptly, but I will take all the concerns that everybody brought here, and I'll pass that on to our supervisors, let them know to reinforce that with the officers, that we want to continue to monitor those areas, and continue to do the things that we do in terms of, trying to address those concerns, just so everybody's aware of that, and the discussion kind of ended pretty quickly there. Secondly, I just wanted to thank everybody for their support with a very successful National Night Out. Last night was very well attended. It's the whole purpose of National Night Out is to enhance those community partnerships and relationships that the officers have and the police department has with our neighbors, and to foster that sense of community. And I think that was a testament to that and how we do that here in Wildwood Crest. It was a very well attended event. I want to publicly thank all of our partners that came out and supported us, whether it be with the fire department, the fire ladies auxiliary, Wildwood Crest Rescue, the beach patrol. We had assistance from Public Works in terms of getting everything set up. Recreation was instrumental. Public safety in the lead up there, just make sure that we had everything in place as far as setting up our traffic pattern. And then we had a ton of support from our community. All of our community partners and stakeholders that we have, that stepped up to either be there to provide information or giveaways for all the people that came, or provided, prizes and donations. It was just, the outpouring of support is something that we truly appreciate. And I'm really proud of our department, our officers, our community outreach unit spearheads that with, it's led by Sergeant Mulholland. And they just did a really nice job each year. It seems to get a little bigger, a little better, and that's a testament to the work that they do. And I just wanted to thank everybody for the support and congratulate everybody on a successful night.
Thank you, that was
Thank you,
very
Captain.
good.
Thank you.
Anybody in the room, any more public comments? Anybody on the conference line have any public comments? Okay, so so we have an item going into closed session. So when that happens, we have to ask the public to clear the room. We'll need a motion and a second to
Yep.
go into closed session.
I'm going to read that. So it's the authorizing executive closed session in accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, specifically NJSA 10:4-12B, with regard to one issue, and that is contract negotiations. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second,
It's been moved and seconded that the foregoing resolution be adopted. Roll call, Mr. Schiff.
Yes.
Mr. Franco.
Yes.
Mr. Cabrera. Yes. Okay, so now-
I'm going to shut the conference line off.